Let's learn how to make a table using a handy formatting tool in Java, and then review some output things. So you can see that this program is already set up. I've got my file name here at the top. This is a table. Remind me that this is the program where I make a table. And then I'm going to create the output here. So just like system.out.print or system.out.println, we've got something available here. So system.out.format is going to be what we'll use for this. And inside here, I need to set up the parameters for how it's going to display things. So we're going to put quotation marks. Now this takes a little bit of setup here. I am going to make 3 columns. So this is what they're going to look like. The first one is going to have 8 characters, and it will be receiving a string, which is like text information. The second one will be the same, and then the third one will also be the same. So I've got 3 columns here. And I'm going to do some sports teams and keep track of their win-loss records. So I'm going to have teams will be the first one. So what it does is it sets, this is the size of it. And then whatever I have as my first parameter afterwards is going to be what shows up in that cell. Then we're going to put wins and then losses. Okay, so now if I run this program, here we go. I've got my teams, wins, and losses. So now what I want to do is I want to make 3 rows that sort of fit with this information. So I'm going to copy and paste this 3 times. It's always a good idea to do this when you are setting up tables, because that way you make sure that your column widths are the same. And this is also when you're copying and pasting your headers, it reminds you of what kind of information you're going to have in those. So for the team names, I'm going to put the Penguins, the Squids, and the Peregrine Falcons. My wins and losses records, I'm going to go 3, 7, and 1. And then my losses, let's make them all total up 7, though that's kind of fictional, and 6. Okay. So now what I should get is I should get 3 columns, 4 rows with a header, and let's take a look at what we get. So I'm going to run this. And this does not look like what I wanted. So one of the things that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to have format skip to the next line. Now, unfortunately, there's no format ln just like println, so we have to find some other method. We're going to adjust this later, and you'll see why. But I'm going to put \ns here so that I can go to the next line. There we go. And if I run it again, let's see what this looks like now. And it's still not going to be perfect. Okay, so you can see the teams here. I've got the Penguins, the Squids, and then this thing takes up a gigantic amount of space. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that there's enough room in that row to actually fit the information. So what I'm going to do is I want all of these to be 18s, so I can just put ones here. Here's a cute trick. If you click and hold down Control while you're clicking, I can actually type something in all 4 of these places at the same time. So if I type in a 1, it's going to show up in all 4 of those places. So now I've got a column width of 18, and you'll see that this now works just fine. But this isn't really how we commonly set up tables. The numerical information is nicely lined up. It's aligned to the right, And we do that because it makes it easy to add and subtract numbers if all the ones positions are lined up. But when we're dealing with text, usually we care what the first letter is for, say, the sake of alphabetization or to find something very quickly. So when we've got text, we don't want it aligned to the right here. We want it aligned to the left, and it makes it easier to find information in our table. So how do we do that? What we need to do is before the number, we need to put a negative, so it's kind of pointing in the opposite direction from the edge of the cell. So if I run this again, this is what it's going to look like. So I've got my text information nicely lined up to the left. I've got my numbers nicely lined up to the right. This is good. I'm happy with it. Now, what I want to do is I want to add a column at the end for the name of the team captain. So what we're going to need to do is first set some space for the name of the team captain. So I'm going to use my control trick here to space percent, let's say minus 12s. It's a minus because we know that this is going to be a letter. Sorry, it's going to be text, so we want it aligned to the left, so we put the minus. The backslash n's are going to have to leave because I don't want to do them on the third column. I want to do them on the fourth column. So I'm going to put the captain here. So this will be the name of the captain. I'm running out of space here, so I'll just put some names that'll fit. Mark Lute, Bartolom, and Ned. There we go. Just to make sure that I've got something that fits. Okay. Now, we're missing our backslash n's, so I'm going to put those in, backslash n. If you want, you can copy and paste that. Or you don't actually have to have all of your control clicks lined up. If I click here, click here, click here, I can do backslash n, and they don't all have to be lined up. So if I run this, it's going to work, but something peculiar is going to happen. Okay, so here is my new table. But you can see these don't line up to the left anymore. So we've got to figure out what happened here in order to cause this. So here's what is going on. So Java is processing these these strings one character at a time. It has a box of size 12 for the name captain here. So here's what it's doing. It prints 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the next character is a return here. So it goes to the beginning of the next line, and then it prints the remaining 4 characters because this counts as number 8. It prints the next 4 here because it technically does that after the backslash n, which is not what we want. So when you're using a table, though you may be tempted, typically don't use backslash n's for this. What you want to do is you want to put kind of a blank line here. So here's how I'm going to do this. So system.out.println with nothing. And this kind of makes like a blank line. So this is typically what you want to do in between rows of a table. And then when you run it, it's all nicely lined up. Your text is along the left. Your numbers are on the